call on the Minister of Health, Ms. Catherine, to read prayer.
Good morning, colleagues. Let us pray. Almighty God, from whom all wisdom and power are derived, we beseech thee so to direct and prosper the deliberations of the Parliament now assembled, that all things may be ordered upon the best and surest foundations for the glory of thy name and for the safety, honor, and welfare of the people of these islands. Bless our sovereign, King Charles III, William, Prince of Wales, and all of the royal family. Give grace to all who exercise authority in our Commonwealth, that peace and happiness, truth and justice, religion and piety may be established among us. Especially we pray for the governor of our islands, the premier, the speaker of the parliament, the leader of the opposition, ministers of cabinet, ex officio members, members of parliament, the chief justice, and members of the judiciary, that we may be enabled to faithfully perform the responsible duties of our high office. All this we ask for thy great name's sake. Let us say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. The Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord make his face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. The Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon us and give us peace now and always. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Parliament is now called to order.
Administration of oaths or affirmations.
None?
Reading by the Honorable Speaker of messages and announcements.
None?
Personal explanations.
None?
Presentation of papers and of reports. Cayman Islands Human Rights Commission 2023 Annual Report to be laid on the table by the Honorable Deputy Governor.
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I wish to lay on the table of this Honorable House the 15th report of the Human Rights Commission. The report covers the period 1st of January 2024 to the 31st of December 2024, in line with its constitutional mandate found in Section 116(8) of the Cayman Islands Constitution Order.
So ordered. Does the honorable member wish to speak to the report? During the 2024 reporting period, Mr. Speaker, the Commission continued its focus on migration issues. CBC provided a detailed overview of the updated policies and procedures for processing migrants from arrival to departure of the granting of asylum. Discussions also covered the challenges surrounding access to legal aid and translation services, as well as government plans for a new immigration detention center following Cabinet's approval of $2.4 million for the project. Among other initiatives, Mr. Speaker, the Commission organized a visit to the newly opened Ponciana Mental Health Facility in East End, which began operations in December 2024. Work also submitted a revised draft of the Mindful to Revoke process, reflecting the Commission's earlier recommendations. In addition, the Commission reviewed the Financial Assistance Department eligibility policies and assessed their alignment with the Bill of Rights, which continued into 2025. Throughout the year, the Commission reviewed and addressed various human rights queries and complaints raised by members of the Caymanian public. The report demonstrates that the Commission has continued its work to promote, protect, and preserve the integration of human rights values into everyday life by continuing to monitor human rights in policy, practice, and legislation. Developing strategies to build awareness through education, events, and presentations, investigating alleged breaches of, or infringements of human rights by public officials, and engaging with civil society and the media. Mr. Speaker, I encourage members of the House and the public to familiarize themselves with the contents of the report, which is available at www.humanrightscommission.ky. Mr. Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity to formally thank the outgoing former member, Ms. Jennifer Hunter, for her service and valuable contributions to the Commission. I'm grateful for her dedication and commitment to improving human rights in the Cayman Islands. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Deputy Governor, you have laid both 23 and 24, right? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Next order of business. National Trust.
National Trust Cayman Islands Annual Report 2023 to 2024 to be laid on the table by the Honorable Minister of Health, Environment and Sustainability.
Honorable Minister of Health, Environment and Sustainability.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to lay on the table of this Honourable Parliament the annual report for the National Trust Cayman Islands for the reporting period 2023 to 2024.
So ordered. Does the Honorable Minister wish to speak to the report?
No, Mr. Speaker, not at this time.
Thank you.
Ministry of Education, Cayman Islands Government, 2024 Annual Report to be laid on the table by the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Development and Education and Training.
Honorable Minister of Finance, Economic Development, Education and Training.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay on the table of this Honorable House the 2024 Annual Report for the Ministry of Education.
So ordered. Does the Minister wish to speak to the report?
Mr. Speaker, no, safe to say that I commend the report to honorable members, those in the public who may be interested in reading the report. The report is self-explanatory.
Thank you.
University College Cayman Islands, Year in Review 2024, 50 Year of Excellence, to be laid on the table by the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Development and Education and Training.
Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Education and Training.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to lay on the table of this honorable House a report entitled The Universal College of the Cayman Islands Year in Review 2024, 50 Years of Excellence.
So ordered. Does the Honorable Minister wish to speak to the report?
No, Mr. Speaker. Just to say again, I commend the report to all members of this House. For those in the listening public who would wish to read the report, commend the same.
Thank you.
Cayman National Cultural Foundation, Year in Review 2023. Cayman National Cultural Foundation, Annual Report and Accounts, 31st of December 2024.
Honorable Minister, sorry.
Sorry, sir. To be laid on the table by the Honorable Minister of Social Development and Innovation, Youth, Sports, Culture, and Heritage.
Honorable Minister of Social Development and Innovation, Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay on the table of this Honorable House the Cayman National Cultural Foundation Year in Review 2023, the Cayman National Cultural Foundation and Reporting Accounts, 31st of December 2024.
So ordered. Does the Honorable Minister wish to speak to the report?
No, sir. Reports are self-explanatory, but just also to say that they both have been given keen audit opinions by the Auditor General.
National Gallery of the Cayman Islands, Annual Report and Accounts, 31st of December 2023. National Gallery of the Cayman Islands, Annual Report and Accounts, 31st of December 2024, to be laid on the table by the Honorable Minister of Social Development and Innovation, Youth, Sports, Culture, and Heritage.
Honorable Minister of Social Development and Innovation, Youth, Sports, Culture, and Heritage.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay on the table of this Honorable House the annual report for the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands, 31st of December 2023, the annual report and accounts for 31st of December 2024.
So ordered. Does Honorable Minister wish to speak to the report?
No, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
(2024) Annual Report, Cayman Islands Health Services Authority. Biannual Report from the Health Services Authority, January 1st, 2025 to 30th of June, 2025, to be laid on the table by the Honorable Minister of Health.
Honorable Minister of Health, Environment, and Sustainability.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to lay on the table of this Honorable House the 2024 Annual Report for the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority.
So order. Does the Honorable Minister wish to speak to either of the reports?
Not to the annual report, Mr. Speaker, but to the half year.
Thank you. Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I also wish to lay the biannual report from the Health Services Authority for the period of January 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2025.
So ordered. Does the Honorable Minister wish to speak to the report?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I do.
Thank you. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, the Health Services Authority biannual report for the period January to June 2025 was submitted to the Ministry in accordance with the statutory timelines. It provides a comprehensive picture of the authority's operations, including its achievements, financial performance, and critical areas for reform. At the outset, I want to acknowledge the efforts of the Health Services Authority's leadership and staff, as well as the leadership of the governing HSA board. This report confirms that progress has been made in many key areas, including enhanced clinical services, investments in infrastructure, patient experience improvements, and financial metrics such as record revenue growth and the achievement of required cash reserves. These outcomes are commendable and speak to the dedication of those working across the Health Services Authority. However, Mr. Speaker, I must also make it clear that as Minister, it is not only my duty to celebrate success, but also to identify and act on the areas that require improvement. I am guided not only by the numbers in this report, but also by the real experiences of patients and healthcare workers, the feedback from our oversight bodies, and my own observations as Minister with responsibility for health. It is also important to note that this report reflects for the first time the full extent of the strategic intentions and operational performance as seen from the perspective of the authority's management. Now that this level of detail is available, I am in the process of preparing ministerial directives to address the issues raised in accordance with the Public Authorities Act and the Health Services Authority Act. Mr. Speaker, there are urgent areas requiring attention. This report, while highlighting some areas of excellence, also exposes long-standing issues that demand urgent and coordinated attention. These issues, if not addressed, will undermine the sustainability, efficiency, and equity of healthcare delivery in the Cayman Islands. I will outline a few of these areas where immediate interventions are being considered and will be actioned. 1, escalating personnel-related cost. The continued increase in personnel expenditure driven by factors such as COLA adjustments, pension obligations, and reliance on overseas recruitment cannot continue unchecked. The authority reported a 6.9 million year-on-year increase in expenditure, with 5.7 million attributable to factors largely outside of management's direct control. Still, it is incumbent upon the leadership of the authority to find ways to stabilize workforce cost and develop internal succession pathways for Caymanians, especially in specialized clinical and executive roles. 2, on bill services and outstanding receivables. The report identifies a persistent challenge with unbilled or unpaid services, particularly under government contracts. This creates unnecessary financial pressure and contributes to the liquidity constraints that threaten operational efficiency. Mr. Speaker, these issues, as we all know, are not new, but they must be addressed systematically and urgently. And a full reconciliation of receivables need to be initiated, and I will work with the team to ensure that the relevant parties ensure proper funding mechanisms are in place. Governance and accountability. The gap in alignment between the ministry, the board, and the executive management of HSA must be closed. Effective governance requires clarity, discipline, and regular engagement. I will be issuing directives to establish clear expectations and communication flows from myself as minister, through the ministry, to the board, who then in turn must hold the senior management team accountable. This will no longer be left to assumption or ad hoc intervention. Operational competition versus patient-centric collaboration. A concern that continues to be voiced, and rightly so, is that the Health Services Authority, in its expansion of services, is increasingly operating in direct competition with private healthcare providers. This was never the intent. The goal must be collaboration over competition, with a focus on ensuring that patients benefit from the best possible care, regardless of provider. Where services are duplicated, we must evaluate whether this is in the best interest of the patient or whether partnerships could better serve the public. Going forward, service expansions will need to be justified based on public need, patient outcomes, and system-wide value. And I'll be reviewing this area closely and expect the board to do the same. Hospital capacity and national coverage. The Anthony Eden Hospital facility, as we all know, it was designed many years ago for a population roughly half the size of our current demand. While incremental expansions have been made, the fundamental infrastructure is now stretched thin, especially as the population ages and demand for specialized services increases. As a result, discussions are now underway regarding how we can ensure all patients receive timely, adequate care, including exploring how private sector capacity can be more fully leveraged. This will require a cross-ministerial approach, particularly in collaboration with my colleague, the Minister of Finance, who has oversight of the Cayman Islands National Insurance Company, as we all know as Cineco. We must move towards a model of integrated health system planning, where public and private capacity is coordinated. Cineco contracts are structured to support access and efficiency, and the patient, not the provider, is at the center of our decisions. Mr. Speaker, I intend to elaborate further on this matter during the upcoming budget debate, where I will outline how this government proposes to realign financing, infrastructure planning, and service delivery as it relates to healthcare. Next steps. Mr. Speaker, as Minister, I've begun working on issuing directives to set clear performance expectations tied to fiscal discipline, Caymanian workforce development, and patient outcomes. Also, requiring accurate and timely reporting on receivables, billing practices, and service utilization. Additionally, establishing a structured system of engagement between the ministry, board, and management for strategic alignment. Mr. Speaker, this report provides a benchmark, one that reflects both how far we have come and how much still needs to be done. We must address the underlying issues that have persisted for far too long. Cost pressures, duplication of services, governance gaps, and outdated infrastructure. To whom much is given, much is to be expected. And I, as Minister, will be very involved with the Ministry and the Board to issue clear instructions and ensure that the mandate is followed. In the absence of having these mechanisms in place, then the onus is on me. The people of these islands deserve a healthcare system that is modern, patient-centered, financially responsible, and well-governed. This is not about blame, this is about responsibility and action. As Minister for Health, I give this House and the people of these islands my commitment that I will continue to drive the changes necessary in policy, in oversight, and in practice to ensure that we build a healthcare system that works for everyone. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The 2024 Annual Report, Water Authority, Cayman, to be laid on the table by the Honourable Minister of District Administration and Home Affairs.
Honourable Minister of District Administration and Home Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Section 52 of the Public Management and Finance Act, I beg to lay on the table of this Honourable House the Annual Report for 2024 of Water Authority, Cayman.
So ordered. Does the Honourable Minister wish to speak to the report?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
And before I give my brief information from the report, let me just say, Mr. Speaker, that this is a very special moment for me, personally. You see, Mr. Speaker, 10 years ago, on August 3rd, 2015, I began my first day as an employee of Water Authority. I left, went back as an employee, left again, and then went back as a member of the board. And now here I am 10 years later as the minister delivering their annual report. So it's very special.
Progress, progress, commitment.
I often joke to them that, no matter how many times I've tried to leave, I always find my way back because a lost dog will always find his way home. So, Mr. Speaker, the annual report that we have laid here today is duly reviewed by the Auditor General and sets out the authority's performance in 2024. Mr. Speaker, allow me to share some of the highlights. For capital development, the authority successfully commissioned a new reverse osmosis plant at Redgate, increasing potable water production capacity by 1.3 million US gallons per day. Infrastructure and service improvements included significant progress being made on leak detection and remediation in Kimmanbrack, and the rehabilitation of sewage manholes reduced saline infiltration by nearly 50%. The authority also launched a new customer portal to improve bill management and communication, implemented an online recruitment system, and rolled out IT, help desk, and vehicle maintenance platforms. The authority established a board employee subcommittee focused on engagement, training, and succession planning. An internal survey saw 80% of staff participation, underscoring a high level of staff engagement. The authority recorded a net profit of $0.8 million, with comprehensive net income of $9.6 million, and it also maintained cash reserves of $11.3 million and term deposits of $52.1 million, and returned a dividend of $250,000 to the government. Sponsorships and charitable contributions totaling nearly $99,000 were provided, including donations to schools, community organizations, as well as other community projects throughout the country. The authority activated its hurricane preparedness and response plans during Hurricanes Beryl and Raphael, and conducted its first hurricane tabletop exercise to strengthen our organizational readiness. Looking forward, Mr. Speaker, the authority will continue to prioritize resilience, innovation, and customer service while ensuring sustainable management of Cayman's critical water resources. So in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the 2024 Annual Report of Water Authority reflects a well-managed, financially sound, and socially responsible organization, and I say that wholeheartedly. delivering on its statutory mandate. I wish to commend the board, management, and the entire staff of Water Authority for their dedicated service to our islands. Their work ensures the delivery of essential services that safeguard our health, environment, and national resilience. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Cayman Islands Expungement Board, 2024 Annual Report, Ministry of District Administration and Home Affairs, Cayman Islands Government, to be laid on the table by the Honorable Minister of District Administration and Home Affairs.
Honorable Minister of District Administration and Home Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Section 44 of the Criminal Records Spent Convictions Act, I beg to lay on the table of this Honourable House the 2024 Annual Report of the Cayman Islands Expungement Board.
So ordered. Does the Honourable Minister wish to speak to the report?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, just to give you a few tidbits of information. Mr. Speaker, in 2024, the Expungement Board received a total of 55 applications. This represents a slight increase compared to the annual average of 48 applications received annually since 2018. Of those applications, 23 individuals were found eligible and approved for their records to be expunged. Many of these persons had shown real commitment to turning their lives around by taking part in rehabilitation and reintegration programs. Mr. Speaker, this means that 23 people now have a genuine second chance and can move forward without the stigma of a past conviction. This will allow them better opportunities to gain employment, support their families, and contribute positively to our community. This is what the expungement process is truly about: restoring hope, promoting rehabilitation, and strengthening social inclusion. It is about recognizing that people can change, and when given the opportunity, many will use that chance to build better lives for themselves and for those around them. Mr. Speaker, allow me to express sincere thanks to Interim Chairman Mr. Michael Bromby and members Mr. Hugh Lockwood, Ms. Kaylee Wright, and Mr. Benjamin Tonner for their dedicated voluntary service on the Expungement Board. I also extend appreciation to the staff of the Office of the Deputy Governor for the valuable secretariat support provided to the Expungement Board throughout 2024, and to the staff of the Ministry of District Administration and Home Affairs for continuing this important support from January 2025 onward. Mr. Speaker, I commend the important work of the Expungement Board in advancing rehabilitation, promoting second chances, and as well helping to build a stronger, safer, and more compassionate Cayman Islands. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Unaudited quarterly financial report, 3-month period ending 31st of March 2025, core government. Unaudited quarterly financial report, 6 months period ending the 30th of June 2025, core government, to be laid on the table by the Honourable Minister of Finance and Economic Development.
Honourable Minister of Finance and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay on the table of this Honourable House the unaudited quarterly financial report for the 3-month period ended 31st March 2025.
So ordered. Does the Honourable Minister wish to speak to the report?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, just a few brief remarks. On behalf of the government, I have laid this report as it's required under Section 29(4) of the Public Management and Finance Act 2020 revision. The Minister of Finance arranged for the gazettal of the unaudited quarterly financial report on the 12th of May 2025, meeting the 6-week statutory deadline to do so after the ending of the 31st of March quarter. The report reflects records from the government's financial management system as of 9th April 2025, supported by CFOs across ministries, portfolios, offices, and statutory authorities and government companies, hereinafter referred to as SAGCs. All amounts stated are in Cayman Islands dollars. As of the 31st of March 2025, total assets of government were 3.5 billion, total liabilities were 1 billion, therefore the net worth was $2.5 billion. Cash and deposits totaled 614.6 million. That is made up of 117.6 million in cash and cash equivalents and 497 million in marketable securities, which are fixed deposits placed with local financial institutions. Public debt stood at 396.8 million, 48.9 million lower than the prior year due to repayments of debt principal. No new borrowing was incurred during the period 1 January to 31st March 2025. Mr. Speaker, the statement of financial performance for the period shown on page 7 of the document indicates that in the first quarter of 2025, core government achieved total revenue of 554.1 million and a total expenditure of 291.9 million. The statement of cash flows on page 18 of the table document shows that net cash inflows from operating activities total 235 million. The net cash outflows from investing activities during the period was 241.1 million, whilst the cash outflows arising from financing activities was 8.9 million. Mr. Speaker, the first 3 quarters of 2025 is typically the strongest revenue quarter due to the cyclical nature of financial services connected revenues. Nonetheless, maintaining fiscal discipline and careful monitoring of public finances is required in the remainder of 2025. The government's cash position ended at 614.6 million for the period, 195.3 of which was held in reserves and restricted deposits. 419.3 million was in operating bank account balances. The unaudited quarterly financial report of core government for the 3-month period ended 31st March 2025 is available on the Ministry of Finance website, www.gov.ky/finance, and it was gazetted on 12th May 2025. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I now beg to lay on the table of this Honourable House the unaudited quarterly financial report for the 6-month period ended 30th of June 2025.
So ordered. Does the Honourable Minister wish to speak to the report?
Mr. Speaker, just a few very brief comments. As I said in the tabling of the prior report, this report is tabled as a requirement of Section 29(4) of the Public Management and Finance Act. Mr. Speaker, the report was gazetted as of 11th of July 2025 within the time frame required statutorily. The total assets of government as at June 30th, 2025 was 3.4 billion. Total liabilities, 0.8 billion for a net worth of $2.6 billion. Mr. Speaker, cash deposits totaled 494.8 million. These were made up of 112.5 in cash and cash equivalents and 382.3 in fixed deposits. Public debt stood at 381 million, 48.9 lower than the prior year due to repayments. No net new borrowing occurred from 1 January to 30th of June 2025. On page 7 of the report, the total revenue of core government for the 6 months were $766.3 million, total expenditure $572.3 million. And Mr. Speaker, the government performance for the first 6 months of 2025 continued to show strong performance, in particular with financial services leading the charge on the revenue front. And the second quarter of 2025 performance was favorable as continued fiscal discipline and ongoing monitoring was necessary. And as you know from public statements made, there was implemented during that period a soft freeze on hiring within the civil service. The unaudited financial report of core government for the 6-month period ended 30th of June 2025 is available on the Ministry of Finance website at gov.ky/finance and was gazetted on 8th August 2025. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the Financial Secretary and the staff in the Ministry of Finance and finance officers across government as we continue to be able to deliver these clear and transparent reports to the public, gazette them, post them on the government's website for all and sundry to see. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Port Authority of the Cayman Islands, Annual Report 2024, to be laid on the table by the Honourable Minister of Planning, Land, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay on the Honourable House the annual report for the Port Authority of the Cayman Islands for 2024 financial year covering the 1st of January to the 31st of December 24.
So ordered. Does the Honourable Minister wish to speak to the report?
No, sir, but I just want to thank the board, the management, and the staff of the PAC for all the hard work that they continue to do and for the service they do for all the people.
Thank you.
2024 Annual Report for the National Roads Authority for the 2024 financial year, to be laid on the table by the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay on the honourable table of the House the annual report for the National Roads Authority for 2024 financial year, from the 1st of January to the 31st of December of 24.
So ordered. Does the Honourable Minister wish to speak to the report?
No, sir. The report is self-explanatory. I just want to thank the board, the management, and the staff there for all the continued hard work that they continue to do for the country.
Thank you.
Urgent questions?
None.
Questions to members of the government. The elected member for Georgetown West to ask the Honourable Minister of Tourism and Trade Development. Question number 27.
Honourable member for Georgetown West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 27 in my name to the Honourable Minister of Tourism, Trade and Trade Development. Can the Honourable Minister say if the Cayman Islands Turtle Center Human Resources Department is in-house and how many are Caymanian?
Honourable Minister of Tourism and Trade Development.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank the member from Georgetown West for that question. The answer, the human resource function at the Cayman Turtle Conservation Education Center, CTC, is currently managed in-house. Following the resignation of the HR manager in December 2022, the board directed in January 2023 that a top management HR professional should be recruited. A Caymanian chief HR officer was appointed in June 2023 and resigned 6 weeks later. Their departure, coupled with the resignation of the Caymanian HR officer who had been supporting HR functions during recruitment, led to the outsourcing of HR services to an agency to ensure continuity in HR operations. A rigorous recruitment process was subsequently undertaken, and a chief HR officer was appointed in 2024 on a work permit. A Caymanian HR administrator has also been recruited and will join the CTC on the 17th of November to replace the agency staffer. Out of a total workforce of 103 employees, I'm proud to say 83 are Caymanian, 6 are residents with the right to work, and 1 employee is a permanent resident. The Chief HR Officer post is one of the 3 work permit positions, underscoring the CTC's strong record of Caymanian employment. Importantly, each of these 3 posts held under work permits has a clearly identified Caymanian successor as part of the organization's succession plan.
Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Due to some minor technical difficulties, I think the question is there now. I just want to be able to peruse the numbers, but we're trying to be as efficient with technology, so the answer just came in. Can the Honourable Minister say how long those succession plans are laid out for those Caymanians to replace those 6 work permit holders, if my numbers were correct? Let me see. Can't remember how much you said were on work permit. But those, whatever the amount is, do we have a timeline for how long that training or that shadowing for those Caymanians to take over?
Thank you, Deputy Leader Opposition. The Chief HR Officer post is one of only 3 work permits positions. The other 2 are the finance manager and also a veterinarian. To my knowledge, and what has been the information provided to me, was when these permits come up for renewal, that the succession plan with the Caymanians will go into those roles.
Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the Minister for that answer. That sounds logical to do it at that transition point. Can the Honourable Minister also say if there is a particular policy around outsourcing employment overseas within the CTC?
Thank you, Deputy Leader. That policy, to my knowledge, is if we cannot find a suitable Caymanian, that we will bring someone to continue the continuity of the Cayman Turtle Centre's operations to make sure that we have no suffering there. But as far as putting Caymanians in place, that is our #1 priority, to find Caymanians to fill those positions.
Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I recognize the Minister's commitment to Caymanians. I was trying to establish, if he doesn't have it now and he wants to provide it in writing, I'm happy to accept it that way. But more specifically to outsourcing employment services to the center, if there is a policy position of the entity, so specifically to say we will not outsource, because outsourcing can be a cheaper exercise. But as government entities, particularly being funded by the taxpayers' money to circumvent the opportunity for a Caymanian to get it, I think their policy internally should reflect one of what the appetite of the government of the day. So I'm happy to receive the information later, but more specifically, is there a policy about outsourcing or not allowing outsourcing outside of the Cayman Islands? Because some of the things that were outlined at the positions are things that can be outsourced, like HR management.
Thank you, Deputy Leader there. I will provide that for you in writing, sir.
Next question.
The elected member for Georgetown East to ask the Honourable Premier, question number 28.
Honourable Member for Georgetown East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 28, standing in my name to the Honourable Premier and Minister of Financial Services and Commerce. Can the Honourable Minister of Financial Services and Commerce please provide an update on a commitment made by the Cayman Islands Bankers Association in September 2024 to review and update the Banking Code of Conduct for its members, having regard for the UK's banking consumer duty rules?
Honourable Premier.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. The answer. In September 2024, the Cayman Islands Bankers Association, known as CIBA, gave a commitment to review and update its banking code of conduct to reflect international best practices, particularly the United Kingdom's Financial Conduct Authority consumer duty rules. Following that commitment, CIBA completed its review and issued the 2025 Cayman Islands Bankers Association Banking Code of Conduct. This updated code represents a significant step forward in promoting fairness, transparency, and accountability across the Cayman Islands banking sector. The new code strengthens commitments to fair treatment of customers, clear and transparent communication, and responsible lending practices. The code also introduces new provisions to protect vulnerable customers, enhance data protection and privacy standards, and encourage financial inclusion and education within the community. Every Class A retail bank in the Cayman Islands, i.e. Butterfield Bank, CNB, CIBC, Proven Bank, RBC, and Scotiabank, have adopted and implemented the updated code this month. By this adoption, CIBA has expressly confirmed its commitment to maintain high standards of conduct and aligning the Cayman Islands banking practices with leading international frameworks such as the UK's consumer duty. The Ministry welcomes this advancement and will continue to monitor and engage constructively with CIBA to ensure that the updated code achieves its intended purpose of strengthening consumer confidence and protection within these beloved islands.
Member for Georgetown East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, members will probably recall that this issue arose out of a private member's motion that I brought last year, asking government to look into this and encourage the Bankers Association to update their code to comply. And government accepted it. And I only read this morning in today's Compass Online that it had actually been completed and the code had been updated and implemented. So I thank the Premier for taking it and advancing it and getting it to this point. But I do have a couple other questions to the Premier, if I might ask. Premier, I haven't seen the update, the new code, but I'm assuming that you have. And I'm just wondering, does it broadly comply with the UK Consumer Duties Act that we asked for to be compared to and to update it in accordance with it?
Honourable Premier.
Thank you for the question. Through you, Mr. Speaker, yes, it incorporates the principles of the Financial Conduct Authority's rules.
Honourable Member for Georgetown East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can I ask the Premier if government is broadly happy with the product and end product that has emerged from the Bankers Association?
Honourable Premier.
Thank you for the question. Through you, Mr. Speaker, we are satisfied that it's a significant step forward. What we will do is to monitor its effectiveness, that the consumer feels it, that if that is not the case, then we're prepared to bring regulations. But we'd like to see whether or not, through market forces and competition, they're able to fulfill the code.
Member for Georgetown East.
One final question, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the private member's motion that I tabled in June 2024 We had another resolve section that we asked government to consider requesting SEMA to review and report back to the Parliament by the end of this calendar year, that would have been last December, on the fairness of fees charged by the retail banks and the fairness of interest rates paid on savings and other deposit accounts, ensuring that those rates and fees are fair and equitable for its customers. Can the Premier say whether that question has been moved forward with the banks and what the outcome or what is the stage of completion of that review?
Honorable Premier.
So if I follow correctly and remember, that bit of work was to be undertaken not by the banks but by the Monetary Authority. Right. And the Monetary Authority, I believe, completed that work. I'm happy to furnish it.
Next question.
Mr. Speaker.
Oh, sorry. Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a couple of follow-up questions to the Honorable Premier. Is the Premier able to give just some practical real-life examples of what these new codes will do? I see that his response was the new codes will strengthen commitment and fairness to customers. Is there a list of practical things that have been changed? I know we will wait to see the feel of our customers in our community as to these code changes. But is there anything specific that you saw in these new updates that will ease the life or the communication and responsibility to the average Caymanian borrower in our community?
Honorable Premier.
They set out a number of things: a commitment to greater financial inclusion for those who find difficulty having bank accounts, fairer notice of when fees are increased, and also better data protection. So there's a range of principles, and I believe by now it's posted on their website, the principles that it incorporates to allow for our consumers to have better protection.
Honorable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In response, it also talked about inclusion and education within the community. I'm going to go down the road of this outsourcing concern because we do recognize that in the Cayman context, the banking system and the services the banks offer are essential for growth and development of our people. And we do have a lot of seniors and people who are limited with technological advancements, and we can see that the banks are pushing that forward. Is there any areas of outsourcing concerns that the banks have brought up in these changes, as we are seeing more and more banks are outsourcing and doing everything via email or via the phone as opposed to in person, which is what many Caymanians are accustomed to? Have there been any discussions within those new codes that will address that area of concern for some Caymanians?
Honorable Premier.
Yes, they plan to train more of the frontline staff to take account of particularly customers like that who need additional assistance rather than having to rely on an overseas correspondent.
Honorable Member for Raidby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a quick question. The Honorable Premier mentioned that the new code of conduct will be monitored, I think is the word he used. If he could just confirm to us exactly, is that SEMA will be doing the monitoring, and will there be updates to the public under this House in terms of how the code is working or functioning?
Honorable Premier.
Thank you for the question, and through you, Mr. Speaker, to be a combination of the Monetary Authority and the Ministry. We're happy to provide periodic updates as and when required by the House.
Honourable Member for Raidby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to thank the Honourable Premier also for moving that private member's motion forward. It is an extremely important one.
That's not a question.
Thank you, sir. I will leave it at that. I just wanted to thank him for the work that he's done there. Thank you.
The elected member for Georgetown East to ask the Honourable Premier question number 29.
Member for Georgetown East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to ask question number 29 to the Honourable Premier, Minister of Financial Services and Commerce. Question number 29, standing in my name. Can the Honourable Minister please provide an update on the government's efforts to bring forward amendments to the Registered Land Act as proposed by the Law Reform Commission based on their review of useful reforms to deal with the enforcement of mortgage-type security over real estate?
Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The answer. In response to the honourable member's question, I'm pleased to advise that the government has made substantial progress in advancing the Registered Land Amendment Bill 2025. It seeks to implement the recommendations made by the Law Reform Commission following its comprehensive review of the enforcement of mortgage-type security over real property. Given this type of reform, the member for Georgetown East can be forgiven for directing this question to me, presumably because the area of banking rests under the remit of financial services. However, technically, the registered land legislation falls under the remit of the Ministry of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, thus under the hard-working stewardship of that minister, the member for North Side, J. Ebanks. Therefore, I'm pleased to report that that Minister for Lands brought forward and Cabinet approved the Registered Land Amendment Bill 2025 on the 6th of August 2025, subject to minor consequential amendments by the Honorable AG and a final round of stakeholder consultation. For the benefit of the listening public, in 2021, the Law Reform Commission issued a report proposing reforms to modernize the law governing charges over land with the objective of improving fairness, transparency, and efficiency in the mortgage enforcement process. The proposed amendments are designed to ensure that both lenders and borrowers are treated fairly in the event of a default, and that enforcement processes are conducted in a timely and informed manner. The Registered Land Amendment Bill 2025 introduces a number of important measures, including 1, a pre-action process requiring lenders to issue pre-action information form and pre-action questionnaire before initiating enforcement to encourage engagement and allow opportunities for repayment or refinancing. 2, mandatory disclosure and legal advice. Borrowers must receive a secured lending information form and a special acknowledgement clearly outlining loan terms and confirming that they have obtained or knowingly waived independent legal advice. 3, improved enforcement framework. The bill reduces statutory notice periods, including the redemption period from 3 months to 1, while preserving fairness and the borrower's right to remedy defaults. 4, court oversight. A new Section 77A will allow either party to apply to the court for directions in cases of disputes or hardship, ensuring judicial balance and procedural fairness. 5, expanded definition of residential premises, ensuring that the law clearly applies to homes occupied or intended to be occupied by individuals, strengthening protections for homeowners. This legislative work has benefited from extensive consultation with key stakeholders, including the Lands and Survey Department, the Bankers Association, the Law Reform Commission, legal practitioners, to ensure that the new framework strikes the right balance between consumer protection and the interest of financial institutions. That said, the current diligent minister, powerfully supported by the current NCFC caucus, were the driving force to recognize the urgency of this matter and prioritize it at swift pace early in the term for enactment by this Honourable House. Accordingly, the Registered Land Amendment Bill 2025 is anticipated to be published as a green bill prior to the end of 2025 so that it can be debated and hopefully passed by this Honourable House soonest thereafter. Once enacted, these reforms will modernize and strengthen the framework governing land charges and mortgage enforcement in the Cayman Islands, bring it in line with international best practice, and ensuring fairness, predictability, and transparency for both borrowers and lenders.
No supplementaries. Next item of business.
Statements by members of the government.
I have received two statements and approved both statements, one from the Minister of Health, Environment and Sustainability and one from the Deputy Governor. I therefore call on the Minister of Health, Environment and Sustainability to give her statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I forgot for a moment about share file. I was looking for the copy to give to members. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a short statement on behalf of my cabinet colleagues. In accordance with Section 11.6 of the Public Management and Finance Act regarding the Cabinet approval of a Section 11.5 supplementary appropriation for fiscal year 2025 relating to the Integrated Solid Waste Management System, known to most of us parliamentarians as ISWIMS, often referred to in the media as the REGEN project, and for those in the listening audience who may not be familiar with either of those references, I'm speaking of the project at the Georgetown landfill. On the 10th of September 2025, Cabinet approved a series of supplementary appropriations to the Ministry of Health, Environment and Sustainability for financial year 2025 that was not previously budgeted. For the benefit of those watching and listening today, I just want to make it clear that the supplementary appropriations were not requests for new funds, but were a reallocation of funds within the ministry. Approval was granted under the exceptional circumstances provisions of the Public Management and Finance Act, enabling the government to responsibly manage urgent financial requirements associated with the termination of the project, continuing the processing of end-of-life vehicles and scrap metals under the Early Works Agreement, and the ongoing remediation works at the Georgetown landfill. The approved reallocations were as follows: 376,000 Cayman Islands dollars to increase appropriation HES 1, which was for policy, advice, and ministerial services, to cover additional professional fees for January to December 2025, required to close out the project, ensuring that outstanding contractual obligations are met with the remaining agreements. CI $274,000 to increase appropriation OE 138, notice to proceed expenses, to meet Early Works Agreement and associated notice to proceeds termination cost. Cayman Islands $900,000 to increase appropriation OE 138, notice to proceed expenses for NTP number 2, continued processing of end-of-life vehicles and scrap metals under the Early Works Agreement. 600 Cayman Islands dollars to increase appropriation EA 165, Georgetown landfill remediation works to complete phase 1 remediation works, a long-standing national priority. Additionally, Cayman Islands $150,000 to create a new appropriation OE 152, maintenance of completed remediation works. In total, offsetting reductions made within existing appropriations of $1.6 million from EI 53 and $700,000 from TP 73 to support the above appropriations. This enables that the government is not increasing overall expenditure, but rather redirecting the funds to where they were most urgently needed. Mr. Speaker, this transaction meets the definition of exceptional circumstances as set out in the Public Management and Finance Act because it ensures the government's ability to address contractual obligations, manage environmental risk, and safeguard the public's health in a timely manner. In closing, in these exceptional circumstances, this government has chosen the path of responsibility to meet our obligations, to move forward with critical national infrastructure works, and to uphold the principles of sustainable and prudent financial management. Mr. Speaker, when I return back for budget debate, I will provide a more detailed summary on the Ministry's approach to a new long-term strategy for solid waste management in the Cayman Islands. This government remains committed to investing in environmental resilience, sustainable waste solutions, and the protection of our natural resources. Actions that form part of a broader vision to secure not only today's needs, but the well-being and prosperity of generations to come. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Deputy Governor.
Mr. Speaker.
Oh, sorry. Deputy Leader Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, under Standing Order 29-4, I just want to ask for clarification from the Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can the Honourable Minister confirm or clarify whether or not those appropriations that she just outlined covers all of the closing cost of the contract between the government and the DART group?
Minister for Sustainability.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In relation to the exiting of the project agreement, yes. What we are winding up now would just incur professional fees, if anything, is because we are still continuing to wind up the land transfer agreement. So there's still ongoing discussions with the professional service providers.
On the Leader Opposition.
Sorry, and for clarity again, I would ask the honourable member. I think it's important that she does clarify which land transfer she's talking about, because that will lead to a lot of speculation.
Minister of Sustainability.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the Leader of the Opposition for giving me an opportunity to clarify. The land transfer agreement that I am referring to was encompassed into the original agreement. So there was an early works agreement, a land transfer agreement, and a project agreement. So as we exit this arrangement, we have to ensure that all of those arrangements are dissolved. Thank you. Couldn't find the word.
Deputy Governor.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, on the 4th of September, at a meeting of the Public Accounts Committee, I gave an undertaking to provide this Honourable House with an update detailing the Senior Leadership Risk Committee activities, accomplishments, and risk management efforts to date. I also gave commitments, Mr. Speaker, to give statements about the civil service ability to forecast, and also on the raising retirement age. I intend to do that tomorrow, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, every government faces risk, from global shocks to internal challenges. The question is not whether risks exist, but whether we are prepared to manage them. Today, I'm pleased to report that the civil service has taken a decisive step to strengthen accountability and resilience through the establishment of enterprise risk management. In this way, the civil service is strategically positioned both to achieve maximum results on behalf of the government and to help mitigate some of the most pressing risks facing government's operations. Mr. Speaker, in February 2024, the civil service appointed its first Chief Risk Officer in the Office of the Deputy Governor, a step towards change is how we think about managing risk. Supported by talented Caymanian as a senior policy advisor, the ERM team has created our first enterprise risk management framework. Mr. Speaker, the framework provides a common approach to identifying, assessing, and managing risk across the civil service. It has 3 layers. 1, external risks that could affect our economy and society. 2, internal risks that cut across the civil service. And 3, operational risks within ministries and departments. 2 central processes are already in motion. The external risk assessment, now in its second year, looks at the major national acute risks that require a whole of government response. A sample of these risks is audited each year by the Internal Audit Service to test assessment, quality, and validate progress. The internal risk assessment, conducted quarterly, addresses areas such as IT resilience, cybersecurity, data protection, talent, and major project delivery. This work is already leading to clearer policies, stronger training, better controls, and practical improvement actions in these key risk areas. Mr. Speaker, the third layer is operational risk management at entity level. Training and a new risk system will roll out in October, supported by practical guidance to build capability across the civil service. The goal is for all 70+ entities to have effective risk registers by the 31st of March 2026. This directly supports Goal 5 of the Civil Service Strategic Plan, demonstrate excellence in governance practices. Oversight of the framework is provided by a new Senior Leadership Risk Committee comprising of chief officers, which report directly to me. This ensures chief officers both own risk and are accountable for progress. Mr. Speaker, after March 2026, the ERM team will continue to build capability, run the central processes, and assure quality. Cabinet will also receive a progress report every 6 months on implementation and outcomes. Mr. Speaker, this is about better resilience and accountability. By embedding enterprise risk management, the civil service is increasing the likelihood that key risks are managed effectively, enable us to deliver outcomes and achieve success for the people of these islands. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, because we're making such good progress, I would like to suspend the House at the end of this order paper for 30 minutes to do an addendum to an order paper to add some questions, which will allow members to have more time tomorrow to debate the SPS. So rather than adjournment, we'll do a suspension and come back and do some more questions. Thank you.
Presentation of petitions? None. Mike?
None.
Obituary and other ceremonial speeches?
I have received some requests by some members to pay some tribute to some persons in their community. I now call on the member for West Bay West.
Honorable Speaker and esteemed colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to offer condolences to members of our community who have recently lost loved ones. Ms. Daphne Orritt, our former parliamentarian, in the loss of her grandson, Caleb. Ms. Betty Smith and her family, on the loss of her son, Little Joe, who was a long-serving member of our fire service. Ms. Gilda Moxham and her family on the loss of her mother, Ms. Laura Dell Carter. Ms. Iris Phillips and her family on the loss of her daughter, Catherine, who was a long-serving member of our Customs and Border control. Ms. Louis Parchment's family on the loss of their mother. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity.
Member for Savannah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for allowing this moment to share heartfelt condolences to families who have lost loved ones. First, I'd like to reach out to the Hislop family in Savannah. Newlands have lost. The Savannah Newlands have lost a very special person, and we take this opportunity to send out heartfelt condolences to his wife Sally and his daughter Ruthie. The Jackson Eden family, Mr. Muriel Eden, the family of the late Lacey Powell, her daughters have lost a special mom and grandmother. Also this morning, Mr. Speaker, I received the sad news of another huge loss when I got a call from Jackie Hansen this morning saying that her husband, Rod Hansen, had passed away. We all will remember Rod from Cayman 27 and Media Works. Rod was someone who took extra special care of his staff. And I remember when Hurricane Ivan hit us in 2004, Rod made every effort to charter a flight and brought in all the equipment and all of the necessities that we needed at that time. Rod was someone that we all looked up to, and today I take this opportunity to send out heartfelt condolences to his wife Jackie, his 3 children, Vanessa, Erica, and Brent, and all the Hansen family. Heartfelt condolences to all those who have lost families or loved ones in the recent weeks. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Member for Georgetown Central, Deputy Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to rise to give my sympathies on behalf of the opposition to all those members who were just mentioned, but particularly I would like the opportunity to offer condolences to the family of one of our former members' father. Mr. Elio Solomon's father passed away, unfortunately, recently. Mr. Timothy Godfrey Solomon. He's a predominant man from the Georgetown Rockhold area, and our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers go out for all the children and grandchildren as they go through this difficult time. Thank you.
We'll all stand and observe a minute of silence in respect to those people. I don't know. Thank you. One more for just a minute, Madam Clerk. Minister of Social Development and Innovation, I think you have a special moment you want to celebrate and inform members about.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. While it's one day late, I wanted to, and I did forget yesterday, to offer from the Florida House birthday greetings to my father, who was 91 yesterday. Our father, who was 91 yesterday, a man, my hero, a cultural icon for the country, and I have no fear in saying that, always willing to go the extra mile, and it's because of him and the life lessons he's taught me why I'm here today. And also, to the many life lessons he taught my brother from another mother, the Deputy Premier, all those life lessons as well. So, Mr. Speaker, just from the Florida House, I want to wish him happy birthday.
I'll let you off, hoping not allow you all to ask you all to sing happy birthday. But next item of business.
Raising a matter of privilege.
None.
Other business.
None.
Government business.
None. The House is suspended for 30 minutes. Please be seated. The House is back in order.
Questions to members of the government? The Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition, elected member for Georgetown Central, to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Land, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Question number 30.
Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper, the amended order paper, number 30. Can the Honourable Minister advise on the government's plan for the old Georgetown Central Police Station and the old Cayman Islands Government Administration Building, better known as the Glass House? Thank you.
Honourable Minister for Agricultural Lands, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, I want to note for the record that the Georgetown Police Station falls under the remit of the Premier and the Ministry of Financial Service and Commerce. But, Mr. Speaker, regarding to the Glass House site, discussions are ongoing about its future use. At this point, no final decisions has been taken, and all options remain open.
Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In light of the recent announcement by the Honourable Minister of Finance and the capital allotments, is it fair to say that the government will not be addressing this ongoing yearly or administration after administration problem of a new government building?
Mr. Speaker,
Members of Agriculture.
I think I just answered it just now.
Leader of the Opposition. Deputy Leader of the Opposition. You finished? Okay. Next question.
Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition, elected member for Georgetown Central, to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Question number 31.
Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question on the amended order paper, question number 31, to the Honourable Minister. Can the Honourable Minister say if the bus stop that is on the corner of Eastern Avenue and Shedden Road is considered a designated bus depot?
Honourable Minister for Planning, Lands, Agricultural, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, the junction of Eastern Avenue and Shedden Road is a bus stop, but not a designated bus depot.
Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Minister say if the buses are allowed to stop at that location, and how long can they stop for? And I'll give a small preamble, if you will allow, Mr. Speaker. We know that the Shedden Road Eastern Avenue location is a highly trafficked location with many of my constituents and others who traverse that area. It's now become common practice by the bus drivers, particularly on Saturdays, to take up even sometimes the parking spaces at the Flow building, which I now understand will be the new headquarters for the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. But that being said, to the point where they take up the driveway up into the amounts of over 10 vehicles at one time, staying there waiting for passengers. And it's becoming very concerning for pedestrians and traffic users alike at that corner. So the question is, Mr. Speaker, are they allowed to stop there for any longer periods of time than required for a stop to pick up and continue?
Minister for Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, first, the member asked me for a preamble, but I didn't give him permission on the preamble. But I just want to go back to the flow building and the flow parking lot that he was just mentioning. It is the individuals that own the parking lot that is allowing the buses to be able to turn around and park there. If they don't want them to park there, all they need to do is just write to PTU, and PTU can send that request to them, but they can also let the bus owners know that they don't want them to be parking there. I don't know what arrangements they have between the buses and the flow company to allow them to be able to park there, but most of the buses shouldn't be waiting no more than 10 to 15 minutes and moving out and going back out. So that arrangement that they have going on there is, I don't know what's happening there, but the bus stop itself is just a stopping in there to pick up. But I just want to go on a little bit more, Mr. Speaker, if you allow me to preamble a little bit further. We are looking at making some changes to the area there. I've asked the NRA to look at how we have a little more of a pull-off lane and a turning lane so that we don't allow the buses to actually get back in to the stoplight, to make it a little bit more easier and to clean up the area, because we see a lot, and maybe put some areas where the bicycles can be parked, because we see all the bicycles being parked and they're just padlocked onto the chain link fence and everything. So we want to clean up that area. So when we do some road works on the Eastern Avenue section of the road there, part of that road works will actually look at fixing that corner, but also maybe slipping the sidewalk in a little bit further. But there's ongoing discussions with Flow. I know last year we had started that discussions with them, and they're open to allow us to be able to make some more changes to that corner there. So some ongoing works will be in the near future with that Eastern Avenue Shed Road location.
Honourable Deputy Leader Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And though I know the member would love to give me permission, I think that permission is by your power. A little inside joke there. Mr. Speaker, I want to first say thank you to the Minister for giving that update from a traffic efficiency perspective, but I am very concerned from a safety component. And though I am looking forward to the members' amendments to that area to make it more efficient and safe from a traffic perspective, I am of the view at this particular point, hence the reason for the question, that the enforcement arm of the traffic department can stop them from doing so because they are licensed. So the question was, do they have the right under their bus license to be stopping any longer than the required amount of time? And I heard the honourable member say 10 to 15 minutes. It don't take 10 to 15 minutes to pick people up. That's why I asked if it was a designated depot as to a bus stop, which is two different things. And they've turned a bus stop into a depot inadvertently without no enforcement from the transport unit. And I say this from experience, Mr. Speaker, being the former Minister of Transport. So the question is, are they breaking their own rules within their license?
Honourable Minister of Lands, Planning, Agricultural, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, as the member rightfully said just now, he was the member before, and this was Georgetown's central location. I thought he would have looked into it as much as anything and took the efforts to really fix that spot more than anybody else. But anyhow, I have guaranteed him just now that we are looking at the area. We will be fixing the location, and I will make sure that the efficiency works very smoothly going through that location for him. And I will make sure that whatever communications that the Flow people have with the bus people, that we will allow it to be able to work a lot better and figure out why they are allowed to park there, number one, and whatever else is happening in the background. And if it's okay with the member, I will be able to give him back something in writing later on to let him know how that discussion went.
Deputy Leader Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, I thank the Honourable Minister so much for his commitment to that. And while I ask the last question, because I don't want to belabor this anymore and test your patience, Mr. Speaker, I would remind the Honourable Member that I was the Minister for Transport for 1 year, and he's been the Minister for Transport for the last 3 years. But that being said, how long does the member think he would take for him to resolve this ongoing problem?
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the member is trying my patience this morning. Mr. Speaker, my help.
Okay.
All right, okay.
I'm in a generous mood. We're having all these extra questions for you also. Don't abuse it.
Mr. Speaker, I will guarantee the member for Georgetown Central that we will fix the problem so that he no longer has the headaches in Georgetown Central. But again, he did say he was there for 1 year. And if I was there, I would try to help fix it as quickly as possible because it was a thorn in Georgetown Central. It's not really a thorn in the eastern side, so I need to fix a lot of the stuff that's happening going east, which I am working on to with the buses turning around, which he couldn't do, get fixed. And that's why he ran to the premier at the time to ask the premier at the time to give me transport because he said he didn't want to deal with those people. That was his exact words.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Now, we all are having fun. But, okay, I'll leave it, but thank you.
Things are going well. Let's keep it that way. Next question.
The Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition, elected member for Georgetown Central, to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Land, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Question number 32.
Honourable Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise again to ask my good honourable friend and minister the question on the order paper, number 32. Can the honourable minister say what is the current total value of property leases per month and per year that the government is under contract with the private sector?
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the good member from Georgetown Central, my good friend. Mr. Speaker, the government pays rent to approximately 11,500,000 Cayman Islands dollars per annum to private landlords, plus an additional $1,260,000 per annum in common area maintenance fees. The total floor area lease is approximately 340,000 square feet. Approximately 84% of this is 285 square feet, which is for the office accommodation. And approximately 15% of this, or 52,000 square feet, is for storage. So all figures exclude the statutory authorities and the government companies, as these entities own the leased properties in their own name. All figures also exclude any government entities that lease mini warehouses style floor spaces month to month in their own name without the knowledge of the Ministry of the Cabinet.
Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Minister for that answer. Can the Honourable Minister say what is the current, if we are still paying for it, what is the current payment structure for the current government building that we have now? Maybe the member may not. I'll retract that question, Mr. Speaker.
That's stretching kind of far.
Yes. But with a follow-up, can the Honourable Minister say, in light of these numbers, is it something that the government will consider for a new government building for savings rather than having so much obligations out there on the road when we could have our own building?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I can say that the government has given me the authority to go out to do exploring works on this to see about actually designing and maybe building a new government building and looking at a new location. And hopefully. And Mr. Speaker, I can see we'd be bigger on the differences on whether the building should be in town, East or West Bay. But anyhow, the business case at the end of the day will actually say that and then go forward. But we do have money in the budget to actually be able to start the works for that.
Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to say thank you to the Honourable Minister for all that information. And you get full support from myself in respect to investigating.
That's not a question.
The question is, can the minister say if there's going to be allocations in the new budget coming up?
He just said that. He just answered that. I think he said that there was one in the budget to start the study.
Sorry, sir. I thought he said currently in the budget,
no,
as
in the new
opposed to
budget.
in the proposed budget.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the word proposed. So it's in the proposed budget? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Next question.
The elected member for Red Bay to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Land, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, question number 33.
Member for Red Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 33, standing my name to the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Can the Honourable Minister say what steps can be taken as a matter of urgency to slow traffic on Shamrock Road near Selkirk Drive so that vehicles can exit safely, that is from Selkirk Drive, and pedestrians can cross without risk? Thank you.
Minister for Lands, Agricultural, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, the Ministry, together with the National Roads Authority, continue to make road safety traffic management along Shamrock, including Selkirk Drive area, a top priority. I can confirm that the NRA has immediate plans to improve the safety for motorists entering and exiting Selkirk Drive. This will include the construction of both a deceleration lane and an acceleration lane at the intersection, along with the new improved signage and to better alert drivers. Mr. Speaker, engineering standards do not support the installation of simple zebra crossings on high-speed or multi-lanes, as doing so can actually increase the risk for both pedestrians and motorists. Our focus remains on making our roads safer for everyone, whether it's drivers, pedestrians, and families across from communities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Red Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the Honourable Member for that response. I do hope that we'll be able, sir, to get a solution for pedestrians as well. But if I could ask, if you could give some indication as to your expectation as to when these things might be done.
Minister for Lands, Agricultural, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, just within the last week, I have seen the new design for the Grand Harbour area and going into with the connection of Selkirk Drive and continuing on down to, sorry, I can't remember what the next road is down from there, but it is in the phases now to actually be able to bring that to Cabinet for their decision to bless it by Cabinet. And once that is done, I can tell you the part of that will actually be in the next phase for in the new coming budget that's coming up, of actually redoing the section of Grand Harbour, allowing that, getting rid of that intersection that is there now with the roundabout that's there, and not to go too far out of scope, but we will actually be finishing up the roundabout that's up by the King's gym, and then allowing the road that goes to the back of the King's gym, which is called Edgewater, which will then continue go down to Grand Harbour. Then from Grand Harbour, then that will head up to Selkirk Drive. So a lot of the traffic that is actually from Selkirk Drive going down will be able to take that particular road without actually getting into the 6-lane highway itself. So there's a lot of road changes that will be happening in that area within the first part of the new year. And what the build out for this year is to try to see about completing the stretch of road between Grand Harbour and the King's Roundabout, which gets us into 3 lanes in, 3 lanes out, and completing that roundabout at the King's intersection for this year. And then as we get into the new year, we will see the changes start to happen to the Grand Harbour and going towards the eastern side.
Member for Red Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That is some good news Honourable Member, thank you for that. You referenced, the member referenced, I think, the Connector Road. If I could ask him if he would be willing to look at making that more passable for now. People are using it to avoid leaving Selkirk Drive and to move down to Grand Harbour, but it's in bad repair. I would ask him if he was able to commit to making that a bit more drivable. Thank you.
Minister for Minister for Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I can commit to the member for Red Bay that I know just talks have been recently about maybe chip and spraying that little section of road there, because we realize how rough it is to get from Selkirk back over to the other lane that's there. So we are going to be doing that shortly. So I can commit to him on that one.
Okay. Next question.
The elected member for Red Bay to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Land, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Question number 34.
Member for Red Bay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 34, standing in my name, to the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. It reads as follows. Can the Honourable Minister advise whether the NRA is responsible for traffic calming measures such as speed bumps and speed tables, and if so, can you say whether government will consider asking the NRA to identify and install them where data shows a safety risk?
Minister for Lands, Agriculture, Planning, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, the National Roads Authority responsible for implementing traffic calming measures. Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Speaker, I'm certainly glad to hear that, because if I could ask the honourable member then, sir, if he would request that NRA begin to proactively identify roads where traffic calming is needed based on traffic count, speeding data, and crash reports, etc.
Minister for Lands, Agriculture, Infrastructure, Housing.
Mr. Speaker, this is something that the NRA takes into account on all roads. We look at whatever traffic studies there are, wherever roads that we see that we have a lot of accidents on. The National Road Safety Committee makes recommendations to NRA on whether they think that we should be looking at a particular road because they're seeing more accidents. We work along with the police officers on where they think we should be looking at traffic calming measures. Just to go down the Shamrock Road, recently we know Shamrock Road was one of the most prone roads that had probably the majority of the accidents on there. We came back and we put a lot of delineators along the road where people would be able to overtake and was kept into a single file. I must say, I think, going out on a limb here, but I don't recall having seen any accidents since then that we have did that. I may be wrong, but I think it's working for what it is. There are going to be more calming measures that we need to put into place. We know that there's a lot of road works that need to be put calming measures. And again, if there is roads that the MPs see that need to have calming measures on there, I recommend that they reach out to the director of the NRA, the chairman, or myself. We're happy to always go out and look at roads with them. We recently just went to West Bay, look at a bunch of calming measures in the West Bay area with all of the MPs. And we've also looked at traffic calming measures with the minister from Easton, also of areas that he thought of major concerns for him. So if there is an area of major concern that they think that we should be looking at that we may not be prioritizing, please do reach out to us and let us know that area, because I know we rely on a lot of the data that we get from the committee or from the police to help us with areas. So if there's an area that you think that your people are saying that we need to put some calming measures on, I know Selkirk Drive is one of them too. That a lot of the individuals down in Selkirk Drive has actually written to me recently and asked that we put some calming measures down in Selkirk Drive itself because of the speeding that's been happening in there. And I can tell you that we are looking at putting some speed tables in that particular road area also. I would venture to tell you, if you haven't seen any of the spray marks out there to let you know where the locations are going to be, you should see that shortly. It was just, we were waiting on that precious money that we got from Finance Committee just recently to continue to do these road works all the way down to December. And I thank you all for everybody that was here, that was in Finance Committee, that supported that money for NRA. Because this, I mean, the money really goes a long way when it comes to help with the infrastructure and to continue to make the road improvements and make the road safer for all of us that drives on there.
Member for Reidby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can I just say how my heart has been gladdened by the last few responses. And I'll get to in terms of the commitment for the connector road being made more drivable and what he just said. I will reach out to him. Selkirk Drive was the major concern. I'll reach out to him, sir, with regards to a blind corner that needs some attention. Thank you.
Next question.
Mr. Speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry. Deputy Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
To stand up, that I can see you.
Yes, sir. My apologies. I'll make sure I'll do that the next time. Can the Honourable Minister say whether in the new proposed budget, does he feel that he has the adequate enough support for the next 2 years to deal with these calming measures and safety requirements for our roads?
Minister for Lands.
Mr. Speaker, as the Minister for Roads, I can always do with more money. But then I need to put on the hat as the Minister of Agriculture, and Agriculture said they need to do with more money. Then I have to put on the Minister for Lands hat, and that one asks for more money. And then my colleagues to the left and the right of me, they ask for more money. And then we have colleagues across the aisle that want community centers, and they ask for more money. And we have colleagues that ask for parks, and they want more money. So recreation and parks, I got to put on that hat also. So, Mr. Speaker, although I would love to get as much money as I can, I'm pretty sure that the opposition will support us for supplementaries if we need to come back in next year for more money to help. So I'll just put it out there that we have what we think is enough money to actually get us going and doing the work. But the faster we can do it, the better. And again, a lot of the work depends on how the grounds are when we're working and how fast we can move and how fast we can burn through cash. So what I can tell the minister, the member, apologize, a member, not minister, a member, that if we do burn through the cash and we need more money, I'm happy to know that he will support us for supplementaries.
Next question.
The elected member for Red Bay to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Question number 35.
Member for Reidby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question number 35, standing in my name, to the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, the man of many hats. Can the Honourable Minister update the House on the government's plans for speed cameras, specifically A, whether any legal or regulatory changes are still required, B, whether funding has been approved, C, when will they be installed, and D, how the locations will be chosen?
Minister for Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, the introduction of the automated speed enforcement is a key part of the National Road Safety Strategy, which is focused on saving lives and reducing serious injuries on the road. The Attorney General Chambers has confirmed that the use of these devices is already permitted under the Traffic Act of 2021 revision. However, the new supporting regulations are being finalized, and will require Cabinet's approval before the system can be fully implemented. These regulations will set out the technical and legal framework, including how the devices are certified, how evidence is managed, and how enforcement is carried out. Funding for the initiatives is being considered as part of the Ministry's 26-27 budget. Supported by the business case development by the National Road Safety Committee, the plan calls for the phased rollout over 3 years to make sure the system is affordable, effective, and properly integrated with the existing enforcement operations. Once the regulations and fundings are approved, Phase 1 will begin with the installation of a portable speed trailer and a limited number of fixed cameras at high-risk locations. Mr. Speaker, the placement of these cameras will be driven by the data looking at collision records, in-area speed surveys, and traffic volumes, with the priority given to school zones, pedestrian-heavy areas, and sites with repeated serious crashes. This, Mr. Speaker, this will be done in full coordination with the National Road Safety Committee, the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. Our goal is simple, Mr. Speaker, to make our roads safer for everyone and to stop the loss of life that both traffic and that can be for both tragic and preventable.
Member for Reid.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I may have missed it, but if I have, I apologize. But can the member, honourable member, just state when the regulations are expected to be completed? How far along are they, and when he's expecting they'll be completed and in place?
Minister of Planning, Lands, Agricultural, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, the regulations will be set out in a technical and legal framework, and once the funding is all in place, that the ministry will be in the 26 and 27 budget.
Member for Reid B.
Final question for the honourable member. If he thinks that we may be able to have the first cameras in place by the end of the first quarter next year?
Mr. Speaker, if it was left to me, I would have had him up by now, but I'm not going to answer that question right now, sir. But I will let him know when they are up.
Member for Borden East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just following up on a response the Minister gave in terms of school zones. I'm sure it's one of your reports that would have came in would indicate that the Theolin McCoy Primary School there in Bordentown Junction near the Cape and Wireless Exchange. It's a major problem with accidents. And I'm wondering if, Mr. Speaker, if consideration the Minister and his team could look at this area, and in particular, it might be necessary for us to do something that has been done in Northside in terms of the traffic calming. Thank you.
Minister for
Mr.
Planning.
Speaker, thank the member for Bordentown East for that question. I can commit to him and tell him that just recently, as of last week, we were looking at a new design for that junction there. And we're looking at moving the section of the junction to make it come behind the church hall, I think, or the community hall that's there. And so it'll be where it would actually come out there, and the, I think, biggest jerk chicken center that's there. So we'll shift the road to come out there because we have a lot more space that we can roll. So I'll be happy to actually share that road design with the member so that he can see it, and he can actually be able to show his people in the area of, and his constituency also, of the new design works that's going to be coming into play. But when we looked at it, it was easier for us to move the entrance of that to just go a little bit that direction where we didn't have to disturb none of the houses that were there in the location, and we could actually create a bigger area to be able to turn in and out without having to purchase a house or knocking down a house or getting a road too close to a house. So I think you'll be happy with the new design that's going to be coming forward for that location.
Member for Bordentown East.
Mr. Speaker, I couldn't go without saying, thanking the minister for that initiative.
Next question.
The elected member for Georgetown West to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Question number 36.
Member for Georgetown West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask question number 36, and no, this is not about begging. In my name to the minister, can the Honourable Minister say how many households and persons are currently on government's waiting list for affordable housing, and what is the average wait time for allocation?
Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, as of the 30th of September 2025, the National Housing Development Trust, which falls under the remit of my ministry, has 1,152 active applications on the affordable housing waiting list, right? When we include their household members, that represents around 2,200 Caymanians who are waiting for opportunities to own a home in the Cayman Islands.
Mr. Speaker.
I think the person asking the question wanted a supplementary. Oh, sorry. Okay. Deputy Leader Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure if the Honourable Minister heard my great colleague ask this wonderful question. The second part of it is said, what is the average wait time for allocations? I didn't hear anything in his response addressing the second part of the question. Can the minister give the average wait time for these houses? Because we all know how many people are waiting on the list. The question is, some of them people have been on the list for about 5-10 years and still can't get a house. So can the minister say the average wait time?
Mr. Speaker, at the moment, I don't have the average wait time for him, but it goes back past 5 years, what he was just saying. Let's not go too far back, because if he wants, I can give him that tomorrow. But again, Mr. Speaker, it is here or there, right? What we have to do is we have to deliver the homes. We have to find a way to be able to deliver the homes as quickly as possible. But what we have to do is that NHDT cannot build itself out of this problem that we have. What we have to do is we have to get the private sector to come back and fill us and help fill this opportunity that we have here. Mr. Speaker, what we need to go do is figure out how we are going to allow the NHDT and the government to go into triple Ps and partnerships more so that we can build. We know there was contractors at one point in time that was filling that gap that are no longer filling that gap anymore. So because they are no longer there, it has created that burden where we are building more high-end homes and we have left that middle class and that lower class homes where we need to build. So we need to figure out more where we're going to do. What I can say is that with the leadership of this government and the NCFC, we are continuing to push to go forward and see how we are able to go and to create and work with the private sector and doing more triple Ps and more partnerships where we will be able to deliver the amount of homes that we need to help these people. We really know. And the thing is that the government is going to have to play its heavy role into this because they are people that really cannot even qualify for some of the homes that we have now at today's price. So we got to make sure that, yes, we may want to play the politics around with it back and forth in the years, but we got to make sure that people can afford them at the same time. We got to make sure that the banks are willing to do the buy-in with them and lend the money to these people. And those that the banks don't want to take the risk with or have the problem taking risks with, that's where the government's going to have to play that role to help fill that gap, because there are hundreds and hundreds of individuals that are going to need the help from this government here going forward to be able to own a home. We are looking at, and I'm going to go back out and say we are going to be starting to look at building the homes in the West Bay on the Apple Blossom site. After we leave the Apple Blossom, once we get that going, We want to deliver the homes in Georgetown, and then we want to continue to work ourselves back to the eastern side, which is trying to find the next heaviest area will be Bordentown. So we're going to continue to push, but we're going to work with the private sector to see how quickly we can roll these homes out as fast as we can. We're going to try to work with the architects too to come up with some designs also to see how we can come up with the best, most efficient design for them, so that when people, even those that don't want to buy a housing from there, but at least could actually come to us and get the drawing and go and do it on their own property where that could be a cost savings for them. So there's a multiple approach that the new board is looking at how we can help individuals fix the housing crisis that we're in and help deliver homes for Caymanians.
Deputy Leader of Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to say thank you so much for the Minister's outline of where we're currently at, and he's right, which will lead to my follow-up question. He has my full support, and I'm quite sure many members over here, in respect to the working partnership with the private sector to help resolve this problem. The Minister said that they need to do that. Can he indicate whether there's been talks with private sector? Has there been a development plan, a policy position by the government? Will they be doing incentive programs? Something, I hear him say what we need to do. What I want to hear is what the government's plan is, and whether something has been formulated, is what I'm hoping to hear. Maybe we may hear that in the budget or in the policy statement tomorrow, I don't know.
Minister of Planning, Lands.
Mr. Speaker, I think the member may have hit it right on the head. He can stay tuned to tomorrow, he'll hear it.
The member for Bordentown East.
Oh. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to, since the minister mentioned Bordentown, I just wanted to ask the minister, I know they were avidly looking for property in Bordentown for affordable housing. Was any property identified in Bordentown?
Minister for Lands and Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, at the moment there is no property identified in Bordentown, but we have reached out to a lot of landowners. Matter of fact, just recently, as of 2 hours ago, there was an individual sending a message saying that they have property for sale in Bordentown that we think is perfect for housing. So Lands and Survey will be looking at that and seeing if it's something that we can actually purchase, and if it is working out, that it could be proper land that we could purchase for housing. Yes, we are seeking more land in Bordentown because we realize that Bordentown is probably, between Bordentown and Savannah, is probably one of the fastest growing areas where a lot of individuals want to be. It's basically the center of the island. So I can commit to the member that we are going to be looking for land in the Bordentown and Savannah area for housing.
Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, through you to the honourable member. Can the honourable member say if he has taken into, or his ministry has taken into consideration, the work done by a young man, Mr. Matthew Hilton, prior to COVID, just prior to COVID, on housing? There was a report done. If it's not done, it's just about completed. And B, whether or not the ministry has taken into consideration the motion brought to this House by myself in 2023 and passed on working with the private sector on housing.
Minister for Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure.
Mr. Speaker, what I can say is that the government has just looked at the completion of a housing policy, and we will be rolling out that housing policy very shortly here. And also, we want to, as I mentioned before, we have looked at areas and how we want to be able to work with the private sector. And there are going to be some changes of the laws that we're going to have to do to be able to see how we can actually best work to be able to make that more efficient, to make it faster for us to allow us to work with private sectors. But there has been several private sectors come forward with interest in building homes or helping National Housing to build the homes. I won't call them all, but I can tell you there is at least 10 10 contractors, developers that have come forward already and said that they have interest in helping the government deliver on these homes. And whether National Housing or the government comes up with the land, or we come up with some kind of arrangement, I don't know, because each one has their own different ways of how they think it should work. So, but in the future, we will all be working together to see how quickly we can deliver these homes for the people.
Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if the Honourable Minister could confirm whether or not the housing policy would be made public.
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, absolutely. The government paid for it.
Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, through you to the Honourable Minister, I'm crafting it into a question for you, sir. Can the Honourable Minister say, in the spirit of cooperation and with housing being a national crisis, not one to be politicized, would the Honourable Minister be willing to allow me to work along with his team on the ideas that we had for national housing?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not the Premier, but it sounds like the leader opposition wants to come join the government. So I'll leave that for him and the Premier to have that discussion, sir.
Deputy Leader of the Opposition. Wait till the man sit down first. Wait till the man sit down first before you
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister just give an indication of time of when that policy will be released?
Mr. Speaker, I can say by the end of this year.
Member for Borden Down East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to ask the Honourable Minister, in particular the 25 acres that was bought in Georgetown near Linford Pearson area. If it's the government's policy to actually utilize that actual property for affordable housing.
Minister of Lands.
Mr. Speaker, that particular property belongs to the National Housing Development Trust, and I must say that that's what it was bought for, and it is of the ownership of them, so yes.
Next question.
The elected member for Borden Town East to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure. Question number 37.
Member for Borden Down East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister advise who drives the decision process for bus shelter requests, and can the Honourable Minister also say how many have been built this year?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, there are currently more than 80 bus shelters across Grand Cayman. These shelters are supplied and installed and maintained and owned by the Rotary Central Cayman. The Rotary funds their construct and upkeep, and in turn benefits from the advertising and revenue generated from them.
Member for Borden Down East.
Can the Honourable Minister, thank you, Mr. Speaker, can the Honourable Minister say that if a report has been given to the government from the Rotary Club in terms of the necessity or if additional bus shelters are needed, but they just don't have the funding?
Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know of any report. If there is a report, it has not hit my desk yet on there, but I can tell you that it is something that we are working along with the Rotary and letting them know that some new locations that we are seeing that we're going to need shelters on. And also, we're giving them some numbers also too, that as we continue to build out the east-west areas that will definitely need it, where the turn on and offs are going to be. So in the future, I can give him some update on some more numbers of where locations will be, but I will speak to the Rotary just in case and see. And if the member from Bordentown East is okay with that, I'll be happy to put it back in writing to him and let him know.
Deputy Leader Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll do it. Please bear with me.
I'll try.
With a small preamble. I know it's hard. Safety and shelter of persons on the road, particularly our children, is a very important factor. And I want to know if the minister is saying that sole responsibility of shelters in this country is in the hands of a nonprofit and not the obligation of the NRA.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, that is exactly what I read. And it's always been that way. There's no changes. It's been that way from time the Rotary started with the bus shelters. It's something that I wanted in the last government to actually put in, where we would actually purchase some of the shelters ourselves. But at the time, we had to take it out. But I think going forward in the future, we can help them where there's location, if they need the help. As the member from Bordentown East asked earlier, I will reach out to the Rotary to see if they do need the help of purchasing bus shelters. Then I'm pretty sure there's something that the government will help assist in that way.
Deputy Leader Opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm confused, and by all means, I think both the minister and myself and all members of this parliament ultimately have one goal in mind, which is to keep the people safe. But what I'm understanding the minister to say is that we're going to give money or help the nonprofit for them to put a shelter in. Why can't the government just put the shelters in themselves? And is there no regulation? Second question, is there no regulations that mandates you do that? We're building roads every day. We're supposed to be building bus stops and the preparation for the structures for those bus stops to be available.
Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know if the system is broken. And sometimes if the system isn't broken, I don't know why you're trying to fix it. Is it that you requested a bus shelter that you have never received? Because every time we have went to Rotary and requested a bus shelter, we have never had a problem. So I don't know why are you telling us now that we should be taking that away from a nonprofit that actually is out there delivering and doing what they do and making money from the advertisements to put more money back into the community to be able to help more with the community. If we had a problem, Mr. Speaker, where we were requesting for shelters and I could not get the delivery from them, then I would definitely say we have to step in now. But that has never been a problem. We write to the Rotary, they ask us, we get permission from the landlord, whoever that area is that we're going to put the shelter in, and the shelters are delivered.
Last
Final
preamble,
question.
Mr. Speaker, thank you so much. If the minister is comfortable with the system, then I'll leave it there. The public may have a different view on that. There is one place that I did request, and it's yet to be implemented, or maybe they think they have, and it's at the top of Palmdale Road. Now, they have a bus shelter across the street of a three-way lane, and children can't get across the street with the cars driving so fast, and I've asked for that bus shelter to be on the opposite side of the street when they get out and they can just walk down Palmdale. Palmdale has close to 300 residents in there with many school children, and particularly in the rainy season. The safety of walking through rain plus cars speeding across is a safety hazard. So to answer the minister's question, yes, I have asked, and I have not received for the good people of Crew Road in Palmdale. So maybe that's why I'm asking why the government can't do it.
Mr. Speaker, this is the first I'm hearing that the member for Georgetown Central has requested a bus shelter. And there are 2 shelters across the road. But if he was requesting for a shelter be put on the opposite side of the road of Palmdale, we would have to get permission from the landowners. But we just can't prop a shelter down anywhere. We got to make sure that it's put there in a safe manner and a proper location where part of the buses would have an alternative area to pull off as a decel lane or a shoulder to be able to pull off on. But if the member has written to my team or my ministry and did not get that response, I will take that up with the chief officer. But I can guarantee him this is the first I'm ever hearing that he's asked for a bus shelter. And he need to clarify who he spoke to about the bus shelter. No, you need to clarify it on the mic.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, just for the record, I want to clarify that the member for Georgetown Central said that he did not speak to me about that.
Okay. Next question.
The elected member for Bontown East to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, question number 38.
Member for Georgetown, Bontown East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can the Honourable Minister please advise if the Bordentown James Manoa Borden Civic Centre will be refurbished, or has it been destroyed beyond repair? Thank you.
Honourable Minister for Lands, Agriculture, Planning, Housing.
Mr. Speaker, following the latest incident at the James Manoa Bordentown Civic Centre, a structural survey was carried out, and I can confirm that the building is not destroyed beyond repair. The Department of Facility Management has advised that the first phase of remediation, which involves clearing of the damaged debris and securing the site, will take place in the coming weeks. And I've been reliably informed on that. And the remaining works will proceed after the required procurement process, which is expected to begin in the early 2026. The Honourable House can be assured, Mr. Speaker, that every effort is being made to restore this important community facility for the people of Bordentown.
Next question.
The elected member for Georgetown East to ask the Honourable Minister of Planning, Lands, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure, question number 39.
Member for Georgetown East, I think that if you'll agree that this question has already been adequately answered, I think we can move on by the Premier. Similar question was answered by the Premier on the other order, people.
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. Okay. I know if that concludes the business for the day, so I invite the Premier, first of all, for suspension of standing orders 14.1 in order to start early tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to move the suspension of Standing Order 14.1 so the sitting tomorrow can start at 10 a.m. rather than 2 p.m.
Okay. The question is that this Honourable House suspend Standing Order 14.1 to allow the House to start at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
The noes? The ayes have it. Therefore, suspension 10.14.1 has been suspended. I now invite the Honourable Premier to move the adjournment of this Honourable House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that this House do stand adjourned until tomorrow morning, the 17th of October at 10 a.m.
The question is that this House now stands adjourned until tomorrow, Friday the 17th of October, 10 a.m. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. The ayes have it. This House is adjourned.